All right, diving deep today into Randy Kraft.
The scorecard killer.
So we've got a whole lot here. Stack of articles and
court
documents, even some personal accounts from folks involved in this case.
Wow.
It's a long story.
It's going to be a long one.
Yeah, it is. It's complicated.
It is.
A lot of twists and turns.
I think our mission here is to try to make sense of it all.
Make sense of it.
Yeah, and pull out those little key insights that might just, make your jaw drop.
Absolutely.
So what I think is fascinating about this one is just the scope, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking a potential victim count as high as 67?
Yeah, I mean, that's the number that they've landed on. I mean, it could be more.
Spanning over.
More, could be less.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Over a decade.
Yeah.
And the guy at the center of it all, Randy Kraft, was, by all accounts,
neat.
Very much so.
Outwardly successful, intelligent, right?
Yeah.
But harboring this dark
secret life.
Secret life, like a double life,
Right, because you hear serial killer and you picture someone,
right,
stands out.
A monster.
Yeah, a monster.
Yeah.
Troubled.
Right.
Right. But Kraft, seemingly normal?
Textbook, actually, like you read about it in the textbooks.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a computer programmer. He was in the Air Force.
Active in politics.
I mean, this guy... Successful. He was living the dream, seemingly.
Yeah.
But underneath it, all darkness.
But yeah, that double life, I think it's
a recurring theme, isn't it? It's a recurring theme in a lot of these cases.
Yeah.
It's really, it makes it more disturbing because it makes you think anybody.
Yeah, right. It could be anyone walking amongst us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, let's rewind back to the beginning.
Kraft, born in 1945, raised in California.
Yep.
What was his childhood like? Any early signs of trouble?
It's funny because a lot of these guys, you see some kind of trauma, some sort of abuse, something, that's like a clear indicator, a break from reality.
Right.
But Kraft, from what we know, relatively normal childhood.
Okay.
Good student, popular, no documented history of abuse, nothing.
Interesting.
Now, there are reports that he struggled with his sexuality, though.
Okay.
And this is key, I think, because this is the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
Concealing it.
Especially back then. Yeah.
Back then, it was not.
Very different time.
Yeah. Societal norms.
Oh, yeah. Societal norms were very much against it.
Completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So that must have created...
Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
As a teenager, figuring yourself out. You're already all these hormones.
Hormones are raging, and then you got the secret that you can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got...
Internal conflict.
Yeah, huge internal conflict.
Do you think that played a role?
I think it's impossible to say for sure.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
That kind of internalized homophobia.
Right.
The shame, the fear of being found out.
Living this hidden life.
Oh, yeah. Living a double life.
Yeah.
It can really mess you up.
Psychologically.
Oh, yeah.
So in Kraft's case...
I think it's possible, this internal conflict.
Coupled with
who knows what else was going on.
Other stressors.
Maybe other stressors, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that could have contributed to this, like...
A buildup.
Yeah, like a buildup.
Rage. Frustration, manifesting in violence.
Leading to, these violent outbursts.
Okay, so fast forward. Adult life.
Your force life, yours.
Computer programming.
Yeah.
Seemingly on a good path.
Successful, right.
When does the criminal activity start?
Well, his first suspected murder was in 1971.
Okay.
A guy named Wayne Duquette, 20 years old.
Okay.
But it wasn't really until 1972 that we start to see this pattern of disappearances, murders, primarily targeting young men in Southern California.
Young men specifically.
Yeah, primarily, often hitchhikers, Marines stationed in the area.
So there's a very specific victim profile.
Yeah, a type, absolutely.
And what about the methods?
The methods.
Yeah, is there a consistent pattern?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
He would often lure his victims into his car.
Okay.
Drug them, torture them.
Oh, wow.
Sexual assault.
This is brutal.
Yeah, really horrific stuff.
And then, of course, the killing.
And then ultimately,
Hey, well, let's talk about this nickname
Yeah.
that really sets this case apart, right?
Right.
What the scorecard killer.
The scorecard killer.
Yeah. So tell me about this scorecard.
So when they arrested Kraft in 1983, they found this coded list
In his car.
in his car.
Yeah.
And investigators believe it refers to his victims.
Okay.
This scorecard, that's what they call it,
The scorecard
had 61 entries on it.
61.
61.
Wow.
Each thought to represent a murder.
Each one a murder.
Now, some of these entries were pretty straightforward, like initials, nicknames, but others super cryptic.
What do you mean by cryptic? Like
references to specific acts, locations, physical characteristics, really creepy stuff.
So this wasn't just a list of names.
No, no, no. This was more like
it was like a
diary.
A diary of his crimes.
Yeah.
A way to relive it.
Yeah, almost like he was reliving those moments.
Chilling.
Yeah, very chilling.
So this scorecard was key for investigators.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Crucial piece of evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, it helped them link Kraft to all these cold cases.
That they couldn't figure out.
That had baffled them for years.
It's just mind-boggling. Like someone could be so...
It's organized.
Meticulous, yeah.
Yeah.
So organized.
Organized in his cruelty.
Yeah, it's like he was treating these murders like
a collection, like some kind of
a twisted collection.
Twisted game, yeah. And I think that's a key aspect of a lot of these serial killer cases.
Okay.
This element of control.
Control, okay.
You know, for someone like Kraft, it wasn't just about taking a life.
Right.
It was about
power.
Dominance over his victims.
Over these people.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
So let's get into some of those specific victims then.
Yeah, let's do it.
You've got a lot of information on those individual cases.
I do.
Where do we start?
Well, one of the most recent breakthroughs in this case involves this guy, Michael Ray Schlicht.
Okay.
They finally identified him in 2023.
Wow.
I mean, they found his body back in '74, but he was a John Doe for almost 50 years.
Wow.
Until they used this new technology, genetic genealogy.
Genetic genealogy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff.
So for our listeners who might not know, how does that work?
So basically, they take DNA profiles from crime scenes, unidentified remains, and they search for potential relatives.
Oh, wow.
In public genealogy databases.
Okay.
So they build these family trees, trace genetic connections.
So it's like in Ancestry, like a family tree DNA test.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for crime. So in Schlicht's case.
They took the DNA
from the remains.
From his remains, found a relative in a database.
Okay.
And through that connection, they were able to finally give him his name back.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine?
After all these years.
His family not knowing for all those years what happened to him.
What a moment for that family.
Oh, I bet it was out. To finally get an answer.
Bittersweet, though, right?
Right.
Because they get an answer, but...
The answer is horrible.
The answer's not good.
Yeah.
But at least they know.
Yeah, but at least there's closure.
At least they have closure, yeah.
It's amazing the power of forensic science.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. And it brings hope.
Hope.
Yeah, in a field that's often very, very dark.
Very, very dark.
It's a glimmer of hope.
It is.
Yeah.
But let's get back to Kraft.
Yeah.
Another victim that really stands out.
Okay.
Terry Lee Gambrell, young Marine, found dead in Kraft's car.
Wait, so he was caught with a body in the car?
Literally caught with a body.
What?
Yeah, this was in May of '83. Highway patrol officers pulled him over, erratic driving.
Oh, okay.
They go up to his car.
Yeah.
And there's Gambrell, dead in the passenger seat.
Oh, my God.
Drugged and strangled.
He just got sloppy.
I think maybe overconfident.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know, they say serial killers, they get...
Bolder?
Yeah, bolder, more risk-taking as they go on.
They think they're invincible.
They think they can get away with anything.
So this arrest, obviously, this is the beginning of the end.
This is it, the beginning of the end.
For Kraft, they find Gambrell's body.
The body, yeah.
But also, they find other stuff.
Oh, yeah, all sorts of stuff.
In his car.
Photographs of other potential victims.
Okay.
Restraints, drugs, and, of course...
The scorecard.
The infamous scorecard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this discovery sets off a massive investigation that would really uncover the extent of Kraft's crimes.
Okay, so let's talk about that investigation then and the subsequent trial.
All right.
This was huge. Yeah.
Huge. One of the longest and most expensive trials in Orange County history.
Okay.
Lasted over a year.
Wow.
I mean, the prosecution presented so much evidence. Photos, fibers, blood, and semen samples.
Right.
Scorecard, of course.
Right.
And they connected him.
To all these murders.
I mean, they painted a picture of a cold, calculated killer.
I can't even imagine being in that courtroom.
Oh, it must have been awful.
Day after day, hearing these gruesome details.
Especially for the families of the victims. I mean, they had to relive the horrors.
Yeah.
Face the man responsible.
It's just senseless.
Absolutely senseless.
And through it all, Kraft's maintaining his innocence.
Yeah, he never wavered.
Ow.
From the moment he was arrested.
How do you explain that?
Denial.
Denial?
Twisted sense of self-preservation.
Could be.
I mean, who knows?
It's a tough question.
It's a question that psychologists, criminologists have been trying to answer for years.
Yeah.
You know, is it a genuine belief in their innocence?
Right.
Have they just blocked it out?
Constructed these elaborate justifications?
Yeah, like their mind's playing tricks on them?
Yeah.
Or is it a way to exert control?
Right.
Even in the face of defeat?
Even though they're caught.
Yeah.
It's just
a reminder.
A chilling reminder.
That we may never understand.
That we may never fully understand.
That we may
never fully understand how someone could do this.
How someone could do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's chilling.
It really is.
So the evidence is piling up.
Yeah.
This trial is dragging on.
Dragging on. Yeah.
Kraft's sitting there, stone-faced.
Stoned.
Claiming he's innocent.
Not guilty.
What was the defense's strategy?
Well, they had their work cut out for them, that's for sure. I mean, they focused on discrediting the prosecution's evidence.
Okay.
Arguing that it was circumstantial.
Yeah.
That there were other explanations.
Alternative explanations.
Yeah, alternative explanations for Kraft being at the crime scenes.
Okay, but how do you explain away a body in the car?
Right.
Or the scorecard?
Well, about the scorecard, they said it was open to interpretation.
Open to interpretation?
Yeah, they said the entries could be anything.
Okay.
Not necessarily murders.
They even suggested it might be a list of his sexual conquests.
Seriously?
Yeah, like
a romantic tally.
Like a tally, yeah.
Of his conquests.
Yeah, his encounters.
That's one.
I know.
Marine Head BP. That's
not a romantic encounter.
Romantic encounter.
No, not at all.
Okay, so it sounds like they were
grasping at straws.
Yeah, grasping at straws.
I think so.
The prosecution had a pretty strong case.
Very strong case, yeah.
Yeah.
Overwhelming evidence.
So what was the verdict?
Well, after 13 long months, the jury found Randy Kraft guilty on all 16 counts of murder.
Wow.
Yeah, sentenced to death.
And he's been on death row ever since.
Ever since, yeah.
At San Quentin.
San Quentin, that's right.
Still maintaining his innocence.
Still to this day claims he's not guilty.
It's just hard to believe. Hard to believe that someone could
commit these atrocities and still claim they're not responsible.
It's almost like...
Yeah, it's like they block it out, you know?
Like a mental barrier.
Yeah, a separation from reality.
It's a phenomenon.
I mean, we see it a lot in these serial killer cases.
This distorted...
perception of themselves.
Lack of remorse.
Yeah, that lack of remorse is...
It's chilling. Chilling.
Baffling.
Yeah, baffling.
Yeah. It's like, how can you do these things?
It's almost like they dehumanize the victims.
Yeah, they have to justify it in their own mind.
Yeah.
But the story doesn't end there, does it?
It doesn't.
We still got to talk about this whole accomplice thing.
Right, because you mentioned earlier there was evidence.
There's some evidence suggesting. Suggesting that he might not have acted alone.
Right.
So why do investigators think that?
Why?
Well, for one thing, some of these victims were big guys, heavy. Would have been really hard for one person
to move them.
Get rid of them.
Right.
And then there's the inconsistencies at some of the crime scenes.
Inconsistencies, like, give me an example.
Well, like at the John Lyris crime scene, they found footprints indicating that two people carried the body to where they dumped it.
So who was the prime suspect?
Well, the main person of interest was Kraft's former lover, Jeff Graves.
Okay.
They lived together for several years.
During the time of
the murders.
The murders.
Yeah.
Did Graves have a criminal history?
He had a few minor offenses.
Right.
Nothing violent, though.
Nothing that
would... No, nothing that would scream serial killer or anything like that.
So what led them to him?
Well, apart from the fact that they lived together, there were a few other things. Right. So back in 75, Graves was questioned by police about the murder of Keith Crutwell.
One of Kraft's victims?
Yeah, one of his suspected victims.
Okay.
And at the time, Graves gave Kraft a partial alibi.
Okay.
But then years later, after Kraft's arrest, Graves makes this weird comment.
What did he say?
He said, I'm really not going to pay for it, you know?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded statement.
It's like he's implying some involvement, but it's so vague.
It's vague.
You know?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Right.
We don't know.
And unfortunately, Graves died.
He died of AIDS.
In 87, before he could be further questioned.
Yeah.
That's got to be frustrating.
Oh, for investigators, I bet that was a huge setback.
Huge setback.
They lost a key piece of the puzzle.
They did.
Yeah.
Did anyone else ever come forward?
Well, there was this guy.
Yeah.
Bob Jackson,
right.
Small-time criminal.
Okay.
He claimed that he had murdered 2 hitchhikers.
With Kraft?
With Kraft.
In the mid-70s?
Mid-70s, yeah.
Hold on, so he just confessed to double murders?
Pretty much, yeah. He even said that Kraft's scorecard only had his more memorable murders on it.
More memorable?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that the real body count was closer to 100.
100?
Yeah.
Okay, so was he...
Reliable.
Reliable?
No, not really. Jackson was known to exaggerate.
Okay.
He had a history of mental instability.
Okay, so another dead end.
Another dead end, pretty much.
But it adds another layer.
It does add another layer. It's like even with all the evidence, there's still these unanswered questions.
That's a mystery.
It is.
Okay, so let's go back to the scorecard for a minute.
Back to the scorecard.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about its significance as evidence, but I'm curious about the specifics.
The specifics.
Like what kind of details were hidden?
Oh, there were all sorts of things.
In these cryptic notes.
Yeah, some of them were easier to figure out.
Right.
Like EDM, Edward Daniel Moore.
Okay.
Marine, they found his body really badly mutilated.
Oh, jeez.
Then there was Golden Sails. That was the location where they found Craig Joanitas's body.
Okay.
The parking lot of the Golden Sails Hotel.
It's like he's
leaving clues.
Leaving these little clues, taunting investigators.
Playing a game.
A twisted game.
Oh, yeah, very twisted. Yeah. Very much in control.
In control, yeah.
Relishing the fear.
The fear that he's creating.
The fear he's creating, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the really disturbing ones.
Yeah, some of them are more disturbing.
Yeah, really graphic. Yeah. Like Marine Head BP.
Okay.
Mark Marsh.
Okay.
Another Marine, they found him decapitated.
Decapitated.
Last place he was seen was Buena Park, hence BP.
Oh, wow.
It's just...
That's horrific.
It's awful.
And he's just documenting it.
Yeah, like it's nothing.
Like it's nothing.
It's chilling.
Chilling.
And then there's entries that we still don't know.
Still don't know?
Like 2 in 1 Beach.
Okay.
That one's still a mystery.
What do they think it means?
They think it refers to 2 victims found together on a beach.
Together?
But they've never been identified.
So they were never able to crack the code?
Not completely.
Not completely.
They linked 45 of the 61 entries.
To known victims.
To known victims. Yeah. But that leaves 16.
16 unaccounted for.
Yeah.
That means there should be 16.
16 more victims out there.
Wow.
That we don't know about.
Whose stories are just lost.
Lost in the scorecard.
It's a haunting thought.
It really is. And for those families, the lack of closure
must be
agonizing.
Agonizing.
They don't know
what happened to their loved ones.
And they're left to imagine the worst.
It's a terrible thing.
It's a reminder that the impact of these crimes extends
goes beyond
far beyond
the immediate victims.
Yeah.
It ripples outward. Affecting families, communities. Even the investigators.
But even the people who investigate it.
Yeah. It takes a toll.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
And there's another aspect of this case that I think we need to address, which is the impact that Kraft's crimes had on the gay community.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember, this was the 70s, early 80s.
Different time.
Yeah, homosexuality was still...
heavily stigmatized.
Heavily stigmatized.
Yeah.
And often met with...
fear, discrimination.
Fear and discrimination.
It was tough.
So, Kraft... targeting young men.
Yeah.
Many of whom were likely
closeted.
Yeah. Due to societal pressures.
Yeah.
That adds another layer.
Another layer of tragedy to this whole thing.
These victims were already
vulnerable. Absolutely.
Living in a world
that didn't accept them.
That rejected their true identity.
Rejected them, yeah.
Yeah, and then to be preyed upon.
Right.
By someone
who's really one of their own.
Yeah, someone they might have felt a connection with.
Yeah, a sense of community, maybe?
Yeah, a sense of community.
And then to have that betrayed. Yeah, it's devastating.
And this instilled such a
huge fear. Distrust.
Yeah, in the gay community.
Yeah, I mean, people were afraid to come forward.
Right, afraid to report.
Afraid to talk to the police.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be outed, judged, or even blamed, for what was happening.
For the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tragic.
It's a tragic reminder of how prejudice can create this climate of vulnerability, silence.
Makes it even harder to address these issues.
Oh, yeah.
Like violence.
Violence, exploitation, yeah.
And it's a testament.
To the gay community.
To their strengths.
Yeah.
Their resilience. That despite all of this, they did eventually start to organize.
They did.
Yeah.
To demand justice.
Demand justice.
Raise awareness.
Raise awareness.
Absolutely.
About these dangers.
About the dangers they were facing.
And their activism.
Their activism was key.
It was key.
I mean, it was crucial in bringing attention to Kraft's crimes.
To his crimes.
Yeah, and pushing for a thorough investigation.
It's a powerful example.
It really is of how communities can find strength even in the face of tragedy.
Yeah, turn their pain into action.
Yeah, turn that pain into action, into advocacy.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
Let's shift gears for a second here.
Okay.
And talk about something you brought up earlier.
Right.
The advancements in forensic science.
Right.
You mentioned genetic genealogy.
Yeah.
And how it helped identify Michael Ray Schlicht.
Yeah.
Do you think there's hope for solving those remaining scorecard mysteries?
I think so. I mean, I think there's always hope.
But these new technologies, I mean, DNA technology.
It's so far.
It's come so far.
It's mind-blowing to think that we can now extract DNA profiles.
Right. From these tiny samples.
From the tiniest samples.
Samples that would have been useless.
Oh, yeah, just a few years ago.
Years ago.
They wouldn't have been able to do anything with it.
So there's a chance.
I think there's a real chance.
That evidence collected from those old crime scenes.
Yeah.
Even something like a stray hair?
A hair, a skin flake, anything.
A skin flake.
Yeah.
Could be re-examined.
Yeah.
Using these new techniques.
Absolutely.
Potentially yield new leads.
New leads, yeah.
It's like we're constantly developing new ways to
living new ways.
Unlock those secrets.
To give a voice to these victims.
To give them a voice, yeah.
Who've been silenced for so long.
For so long.
It's pretty incredible.
It is. And it's not just DNA either.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, facial recognition.
Oh, yeah.
Digital forensics, AI. I mean,
all of these things are...
They're all being used now. In investigations.
It's an exciting time.
It is. To be in this field. Knowing that...
I mean, who knows what the future holds?
Right.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It makes you wonder.
It does make you wonder.
What the future holds, right. Will we be able to predict behavior?
That's the question, isn't it?
To identify individuals on this trajectory?
Like, can we stop it before it even starts?
It's darkness, yeah.
Right.
Before they even act.
That's the holy grail, isn't it?
It would be.
In this field.
It would be a game changer.
Yeah, but it's a tough one.
Predicting human behavior with absolute certainty.
People are unpredictable.
That's tough.
That's the thing.
But we are seeing advancements.
We are.
In neuroscience. Behavioral analysis that are providing
clues.
These insights into the factors.
Into what makes people tick. What makes them do these things.
Do you think there will ever be a point
I don't know.
Where we can intervene early on.
Early intervention.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right?
Identify individuals at risk.
Identify them early.
And offer them.
Get them the help they need.
Targeted support.
Therapy, counseling.
Therapy.
Yeah.
To steer them away.
Steer them away from this path.
From a path of violence.
Yeah.
It's a compelling idea.
Yeah, it is.
Imagine a world.
A world without serial killers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine.
Where we could prevent these tragedies.
I mean, maybe one day.
From happening.
Yeah.
But of course, it raises ethical questions.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right.
I mean, how do we
ensure that these interventions...
That we're not overstepping.
Are used ethically.
Yeah, that we're not violating people's rights.
Responsibly, yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Without unfairly...
It's a balancing act.
Targeting or labeling individuals.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
A very delicate balance.
But I think the potential benefits...
I think so, too. Yeah. Outweigh the risks.
I mean, if we can save one life...
If we can save one life...
Prevent one family from going through this hell.
From enduring this pain.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be worth it?
I think it would be.
Yeah.
It's a goal worth striving for.
Absolutely.
But for now, we have to keep learning.
We got to keep learning.
From cases like Kraft's.
From these cases.
Yeah. Understand the why.
Understand why.
You know, why do they do it?
The motivation.
What motivates them.
Yeah.
And use that knowledge.
To get better.
To improve. Yeah.
at investigating.
Our investigation.
For prevention.
Our prevention strategies, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process.
Well, I think we've successfully navigated this twisted labyrinth.
It's a twisted one, that's for sure.
Of the scorecard killer.
The scorecard killer.
It's a story filled with darkness, but
there's also hope in there.
It is. It's a story of resilience.
It's a resilience, yeah.
Scientific advancement.
Absolutely.
The pursuit of justice.
Yeah. We're always pursuing justice.
For those who've been silenced.
For those who can no longer speak for themselves.
As always, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
On this deep dive.
We appreciate it.
It's been a heavy one.
It has been heavy.
I hope you found it insightful.
Yeah, hopefully.
And thought-provoking.
It's giving you something to think about.
Yeah. We'll be back next week.
We'll be back.
With another intriguing case.
Another case.
Ready to explore the complexity.
Complexities, yeah.
Of the human experience.
Human nature.
One story at a time.
One story at a time. Didn't want to be judged.
Right.
You know, it's a tough time.
Yeah, and it's a testament to the resilience of the gay community that they eventually
organized.
Demanded justice.
Demanded justice, raised awareness.
Raised awareness about the dangers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and their activism was crucial.
It was crucial, yeah.
By bringing attention to Kraft's crimes.
Bringing attention to it, yeah.
Yeah, and pushing for a thorough investigation.
And pushing for that investigation.
It's a powerful example of how a community can find strength.
Find strength.
Yeah, even in the face of this adversity.
Yeah, turn that pain into action.
Turn their pain into action and advocacy.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's shift gears for a second here.
Okay.
Talk about something you brought up earlier.
All right.
The advancements in forensic science.
Yeah, right.
You mentioned genetic genealogy.
Yeah.
How it helped identify Michael Reislicht.
Right.
Do you think there's hope for solving...
I think there's always hope.
Those remaining scorecard mysteries.
Yeah.
Using these new technologies.
With these new technologies. Yeah, I mean, DNA technology's come so far.
It really has come a long way. It's mind-blowing to think that we can extract DNA profiles from these tiny samples.
Tiny samples.
Samples that would have been useless years ago.
Oh, yeah. They couldn't have done anything with it back then.
So there's a chance that evidence collected.
I think there's a good chance.
From those old crime scenes, even something as seemingly insignificant as a stray hair, a skin flake.
A hair, a flake of skin, anything.
Could be re-examined.
You could re-examine it.
Using these new technologies.
Use the new technologies, yeah.
And potentially yield new leads.
New leads, absolutely.
Like we're constantly developing new ways.
We're always finding new ways.
To unlock these secrets.
To unlock those secrets.
Give a voice to the victim.
Give them a voice.
Who have been silenced for so long.
For so long.
That's pretty incredible.
It is.
And it's not just DNA analysis.
No.
We're also seeing these advancements in facial recognition.
Facial recognition, digital forensics, AI.
All of these being used now.
They're all being used now.
In investigation.
In investigations, yeah.
It's an exciting time to be in this field.
It is. It is.
Makes you wonder what the future holds.
It does make you wonder.
Will we one day have the ability to predict this behavior?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can we stop it before it even starts?
Identify individuals on this trajectory towards darkness.
Right.
Before they even act.
Before they even act.
That would be a game changer.
That's the holy grail, isn't it? In this field.
But predicting human behavior with absolute certainty.
It's tough. I mean...
That's tough.
People are unpredictable.
But we are seeing... advancements in neuroscience, behavioral analysis.
Neuroscience and behavioral analysis, yeah.
That are providing these insights.
Yeah, giving us clues, you know? It's like...
Into what makes people tick.
What makes them tick, yeah. What makes them do these things.
Do you think there will ever be a point where we can intervene early on?
Early intervention, yeah.
Identify individuals at risk.
Identify them early.
Offer them targeted support.
Get them the help they need.
Therapy, counseling.
Counseling, yeah.
To steer them away from this path of violence.
Steer them away from that dark path.
It's a compelling idea.
It is. It is.
Imagine a world.
A world without serial killers. I mean, that's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
But maybe one day.
Where we could prevent these tragedies from happening.
Yeah, it's a nice thought.
But, of course, it raises ethical questions. Right?
Oh, of course. Big ethical questions.
How do we ensure...
How do we make sure...
that these interventions are used ethically?
That we don't overstep, you know.
Responsibly.
That we're not violating people's rights.
Without unfairly targeting or labeling individuals.
Right. It's a tough one. It's a balancing act, for sure.
It's a delicate balance.
A very delicate balance.
But I think the potential benefits outweigh the risks.
I think so, too. I mean, if we can save one life...
If we can save one life, prevent one family
from going through that hell.
From enduring this unimaginable pain.
It would be worth it.
Wouldn't it be worth it?
I think it would be.
It's a goal worth striving for.
Absolutely. A goal worth striving for, but for now, we got to keep learning.
We have to keep learning from cases like Kraft's.
From cases like this, understand the why,
Understand the motivation.
What motivates them, and use that knowledge.
To get better, at investigating, at preventing these crimes.
Investigating, prevention, it's all connected.
It's an ongoing process.
Absolutely, never ending.
Well, I think we successfully navigated this twisted labyrinth of the scorecard killer.
The scorecard killer, what a case.
What a case.
It's a twisted one, that's for sure.
It's a story filled with darkness.
A lot of darkness,
But it's also a story of resilience.
Resilience,
Scientific advancement.
Absolutely.
And the pursuit of justice.
Always pursuing justice.
For those who have been silenced.
For the victims,
As always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
It's been a heavy one, but I hope you found it insightful.
Heavy but important.
And thought-provoking.
Hopefully you learned something.
And we'll be back next week with another intriguing case, ready to explore.
Ready to go.
The complexities of the human experience.
The complexities,
One story at a time.
One story at a time.